So this is a much better month. The month of Shvat. The Rosh Tevos Shvat is Shinishma Besoros Tevos. Remember I mentioned to you there are 3 months in the year which are not so favorable for Am Yisrael. The first one is Tammuz. Second one is Av. We're all familiar with those months. You have 2 fast days and the Churban Beis Hamikdash connected to both of them. And the third one is Teves, which we just passed. And hopefully, because that was the first siege of Sarba Teves around Yerushalayim, it started off the year. But now we're in Shvat, we're on the upsurge, looking at better things. Shvat, Adar, Nisan, Let's Hashem, it'll be much better this month. So it's all dependent on us in many ways. Many ways, it's dependent on us. There's an interesting Gemara in Maseches Nedarim. The Gemara says that had we not sinned with the Egel, we had been at the highest level that it's possible to imagine. At Har Sinai. Har Sinai, there was such a revelation. It was sort of going back to the pre-Chet of Adam Arishon. That's what happened at Har Sinai. The world sort of completely rejuvenated itself and started anew. And it would remain that way. Just give you an example. What it means if it remained that way. After the Mabul, in the Chumash it says we have now 4 seasons. Summer, fall, winter, spring, right? What was it before that? What was it before the Chet of Adam Rishon? Maybe it was up until the Mabul too. I'm not sure. I don't remember that. But after the Mabul, we have 4 seasons: summer, fall, winter, and spring. What was it beforehand? How was the world created? What was the weather of the world before Chet?
Spring.
Perfect, exactly. Perennial spring, that means perfect weather, not too hot, not cold, and growth. Growth, that's what it would always been. But once the Mabul came and the whole world became a big mess, so we have to have now 4 seasons. And you know what's closest to the original plan? Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael officially has only 2 seasons. We have winter and summer. The spring and the fall here are very, very small. There is October is more or less like a fall, and maybe April or something like that would be a spring, but it's very short. We have 2 official seasons. We're the closest to the original plan. So imagine, had there been no sin, had there been no Chet Egel, the world would have been on such a level there would be constant spring, and we would go right into Eretz Yisrael. There would only supposed to be 11 days travel from Har Moriah, from Har Sinai to Eretz Yisrael. Yom Korev ad Har Seir. And that's all it would be. 11 days, when we'd gone right into Eretz Yisrael, we had built the Beis Hamikdash, and it would be a different world altogether. And the Gemara says in the Dorim, had it not been for the sin, we would only have 6 Svarim. Chamisha Chumshei Torah and Yehoshua. That's all. All the other Nevi'im that we have today are only because of our Averos. The Averos.
Only because?
Of the Averos. Chatoim. Had it not been for the Averos, we have only 5 Chumashim and Yehoshua. Why would we have Yehoshua? Because Yehoshua discusses which Shevet gets which plot of land and goes to all the cities and the boundaries of Eretz Yisrael. So we need Yehoshua to have it registered in the taboo. Which city belongs to which Shevet. That's all. But all the Musar and about the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash and the Geula and the redemption, that's all because we fell down, because we have a virus. This is what the Gemara says. We wouldn't need all the Nevi'im. What are the Nevi'im there for? All is to give us moral lessons. But had we been on the high Madrega, as we were at Sinai, had we stayed on that level, what do we need all the Nevi'im to give us the Musar? Tell us about the eventual redemption in Yashayahu, what's going to come. We are on the level of redemption already. The whole time we wouldn't need it. So we have to realize that the situation that we are in today needs a lot of tikkun. Now that we do have the Nevi'im, so we must learn from them. And that's why we have to have the Baal Shem Tov to tell us how to approach the Kodesh Baruch Hu, how to use the kelim that are given to us once we're in a matzav of galus. Until the Geula Shleima, we're in a matzav of galus. So there are certain tools that we have to use and try to get as close as we can to take ourselves out of the galus. Tefillah is supposed to be one of those times during the day where you're not in galus. You're removing yourself from the mundane, worldly atmosphere, the worldly mentality, and you're connecting to the Olamas Helyonim. That's what the Tefillah is all about. As a matter of fact, there are some who hold that in Tefillah there's no room for Avelis at all. It's like on Shabbos, the Mekubalim go dressed how they go dressed on Shabbos? Only in white, totally white. The Ben Ish Chai also brings it down, that on Shabbos, everyone, not only Mekubalim, all people should wear white on Shabbos. White is no room for black, no room for Avelis. I always had to wonder, why in the world do the Talesim do we have these black stripes? What do we need black stripes for? There are people who have totally white Talesim. When I came to that realization years back, I changed my talis. I put away the talis with the black stripes. I wear only a white talis on Shabbos. And during the week too. During the week also I wear white. Why? Because when you're in Tefillah, when you're down, you're communicating with Hashem. You're not in this world. You're not in the world of Gullus. There's no room for blackness. No room for Avelis. When you're davening, it's like on Shabbos. Davening at the time on Shabbos, you're connected to Kodesh Baruch Hu. You have a special communication with Him. You don't know anything at all what's going on in the world. As someone here said the other day, when you start Shmoneh Esrei, you shouldn't even hear the Chazor Hashatz. You mentioned it, right? You mentioned it 2 weeks ago. Not you. You shouldn't even hear it. If you're so into it, you're so really connected, you shouldn't know from anything else. There's no room for Avelis, no room for black. No room for black. It should be white. Just imagine what Eretz Yisrael, let's say, forget about Chutz La'aretz. Imagine what Eretz Yisrael would look like if all religious Jews, not only the Mekubalim, the Sfardim, all who wore only white on Shabbos. Can you imagine what that would do? It would be so beautiful to see. Wherever you look, Jews, everyone's wearing white. Everyone's wearing white. It changes your whole atmosphere. It changes your whole mental state. To see white all the time, that means purity and calm and clean. It's a different world. Shabbos is supposed to be a different. It's Me'ein Olam Haba. What do you have to wear black on Shabbos for? I can't understand. Even the most chashuv rabbanim, they go black, dressed in black, kapothers, whatever you want to call it, black on Shabbos. Where's black come to Shabbos? I mean, it's not me myself saying it. The Ben Ish Chai, in his parish on Chumash, and he said, on Shabbos, a person should wear only white. And he's not talking about Mekubalim, he's talking about every person, every balabas should wear on Shabbos white. White is the day. At my house, we have, let's say, the dishes. We have some white dishes and have some colored dishes with, color. I'm makbid on Shabbos to only eat from the white dishes. I take out the white. It's Shabbos. Well, let's eat from the white. I have a choice to eat from the white or from the colored dishes. I eat from the white dishes. Why not? Shabbos is a day when there's supposed to be no black, nothing, only purity and tahara and that's the way Shabbos is supposed to be. So that's what davening is supposed to be about. That's what the Baal Shem Tov is trying to get across to us and teaching us how to daven. If it wasn't necessary, it wouldn't be here. It's just like the 24 Svarim of Nach. We have to understand it. We have to understand it in two ways. One way is what the Gemara says. Why do we have 24 Svarim of the Nevi'im, the Ksuvim, all that? Why is it necessary? Because we did Averis, and we need more guidance. Had we kept our original level from Har Sinai, we wouldn't need that guidance, so we wouldn't need 24. Now just think about this for a moment. We have on Shabbos 39 malachos, Lamed Tes malachos, right? Which are Asur. They're all enumerated in the Mishnayos of Shabbos, the 39 categories of malacha which are not allowed to do on Shabbos. You can't cook, and you can't sift, and all the things. You can't color, all these things. You can't do these things on Shabbos. Some people say, I don't understand it. Shabbos is supposed to have Onik Shabbos. My Onik Shabbos is to go to the beach. Why not? I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm just going out to enjoy the Shabbos. It's my only Shabbos. I want to go to the beach. And because I can't drive or I can't go to the beach, so it's hurting my only Shabbos. But they don't understand. They're missing the other aspect. The other aspect is this. During the week, everyone is busy, correct? You're doing all kinds of things. Whether you have a parnasa, you have to work for a living, okay. So you're busy earning money, busy with money and fixing and doing this and doing that, whatever you have to do, telephone calls, whatever you do for your parnasa. Doesn't matter. But Shabbos is me'ein olam haba. So what do you do on Shabbos? Well, Shabbos, I can't work, I can't write, I can't cook, I can't do anything. But I enjoy those things. I like writing. And I like to put on the lights. I want to have more light. I want to do it. I'm in prison on Shabbos. I can't go to the beach. All these things are preventing me. They're holding me back from enjoying the Onik Shabbos that I'm supposed to enjoy. They're making a big mistake. All of those enjoyments are all physical enjoyments. Physical enjoyments that people enjoy on a daily basis. Shabbos is me'ein olam haba. Do you think in olam haba there's going to be these physical enjoyments? The Shabbos is all about a olam haba of a spiritual nature. That's what Shabbos is all about. And the Baal Shem Tov is teaching us that's what tefillah is all about. Not only Shabbos, that's what tefillah is all about, prayer. You're supposed to be on such a high spiritual nature that the physical doesn't interest you. So on Shabbos, I shouldn't be thinking, oh, I'm imprisoned. I can't write. I can't fix. I can't do. I enjoy building things. I enjoy constructing things. Can't do all these things on Shabbos. Takes away my enjoyment. Takes away my Onik Shabbos. Because you don't understand what Shabbos is all about. Shabbos is not about physical enjoyment. It's about a spiritual enjoyment, which takes you up to a higher level where you're not supposed to be interested. It won't interest you. If you get to that level, you're not going to be interested in the physical. It means nothing to you. It's like child play. It's for children. I want to be on a high spiritual level where I'm communicating with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. As our friend here said, You don't even hear the Chazaras Hashatz. You don't hear it. You're so connected. You're so connected. You want to stay there. You don't want to come down. That's what Shabbos should be like. Is there room for black? To remind me of the Avelis, to remind me of the Gullus that we're in on Shabbos? Who wants to see that, Bechlal? Who wants to see it? I don't want to see it. I don't want to know about it. To me, it's a Pele Gadol that the Gedolim Yisrael for generations have been wearing black. All the time black. I don't know why. I can understand during the week. Okay, during the week, we're in Gullus during the week. Fine. But Shabbos also, at least one day of the week to take yourself out of it and put yourself into a higher level. We are a feeling of simcha, of elation. That's what Shabbos is all about. That says the Baal Shem Tov, that's what tefillah is all about. That's what we're doing about Shem Tov. And I just thank Hashem. 10 years ago, I have this sefer in my house, 20, 30 years. I would open it up once in a while to see something on the parsha, and I never opened up the section on Noach where he talks about all these pages on tefillah. And I started to look at it. It was 10 years ago. That's all. Just 10 years ago. I says, wow. I thought I was davening my whole life. I realized I was playing around. It was a kid's play. Once I started learning about Shem Tov. And then I have my other shiurim, so I spoke to the Balabatim at the other shiurim, and I told them my experience, and they said, we also want to learn it. So I went through it with them also, and we're doing it here too. That's why Rabbi Goldberg asked me if I want to give shiur over here in Chabad. He says, okay, Pesach, of course I'll give a shiur. I says, chus to give a shiur, why not? What do you want to teach? I says, the best place in Chabad to teach is the Baal Shem Tov on Tefillah. No, excellent. He says, okay, wonderful. And that's how it started. A year ago, 2 years ago, I don't remember. So that's where we are now. Let's take a look now there again at page 150. We started with this Tzadi Vav. What is that referring to? That's not in Yom Tovim. Yom Tovim. I didn't think about it. I don't know exactly, how to fit that in. All right. So we started in Tzadi Vav in front of you on the page there. Let's just do it again. We spoke about this already 2 times, and it's very, very powerful. If you understand it and really think of what it means, it's very, very powerful. And it takes you out of your normal way of davening Shmona Esrei. It's not you who are addressing the Shekhinah, as it says there. Kasher maschil ha'adam nitpalel miyad kasher omer Adonai sevasai tiftach ufi agit hilasecha hashchina mishlabeshes bo umedaberes hadiburim. You have to realize that you are becoming now, let's call it the center of a concentration of the Shekhinah that was not there before. The Shekhinah exists all the time. But once you invite the Shekhinah and you ask the Shekhinah for help, Sivasai Tiftach, open up my lips. Adonai is another nickname for the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah accepts, the Shekhinah is waiting for you because we have a mitzvah. Hashem gave us a mitzvah to daven every single day. At least once a day, according to the Rambam, it was a mitzvah to say the daven Shmona Esrei, that's avoda. Ula'avdo b'chol avavchem, ezu havoda shebelei, so tefillah. So we based it on that pasuk. So it's a mitzvah. He's waiting for us. And once we open the door, the Shekhinah comes in, and the Shekhinah is the one who's really doing the talking, helping us. Like Aaron was the spokesman for Moshe Rabbeinu, the Shekhinah is our spokesman. HaShekhinah mislabeshes bo umedaberes hadiburim. And that awareness should make you stand there a lot differently. And you cannot start the Shmona Esrei so fast, and you cannot finish so fast, because if you realize that you are now in very close, intimate relations with the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah is your spokesman, and it is totally, totally concentrated in you now. And I see that word, you have to believe it. You could say today, oh, come on, this is all, it's just make-believe. It's not really happening. So the Baal Shem Tov says, "K'sheyelo ha'amuna," when you have that amun, you believe that. Elo hadiburim, bevadai tipol alav ema v'yira, because it's all dependent on the person's perceptions. Once you have that perception, certainly you'll have a certain degree of awe at that moment. And you'll go on with the Shemona Esrei in a state of awe. A state of awe. You have to have that state of awe. That's the way you should be standing in front of the Kodesh Baruch Hu, or Kodesh Baruch Hu is inside you, in a sense. In a state of awe. V'gam HaKadosh Baruch Hu kavayochol mitzamtzem es atzmo v'yishore etzlo. Again, you see, he's called Kodesh Baruch Hu. He's sort of limiting himself and not just being all over, but he's next to you. He's by you. Now, I want to get this straight. We have two references to God in these two lines. One is the Shekhinah, one's the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Look at the words. When it says Hashchina, it starts off with Shekhinah B'Deberes, and then it says, when you're in that state of awe, you have a Kodesh Baruch Hu. What is the difference between the two? Gam Kodesh Baruch Hu kavayochol metzamtzem es atzmo. It's not only the Shekhinah. He said before the Shekhinah, now he says the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Mitzamtzem es atzmo v'shor etzlo. Now I'll explain to you a very important klal. I mentioned it last time or 2 times ago. I think Rabbi Yaakov Meir asked the question, and you have to remember it's a very important question. It's a very important answer. We have a term that is used in the Svarim of Kabbalah to describe God. What would you think is the term in Lashon HaKodesh that describes God? Is there any thing that you can remember that describes God?
Trustworthy.
Yes?
Borei.
Borei, creator. Well, that's something that God does, but it's not describing God himself. That is a description of a function. God creates. That's something he does. But how do I describe the essence of God?
Kodesh Baruch.
Huh?
Kodesh Baruch.
Kodesh Baruch Hu saying, well, God also it's a description. Kadosh Baruch Hu, he is holy and he's blessed. Kadosh Baruch Hu, holy and blessed. It's a description, but it doesn't get to his essence.
What about trustworthy?
Huh?
Trustworthy.
Trustworthy. It's something also, an adjective, but it's not his essence. It's a midah, a characteristic.
Makom.
Makom, well, that's a bit closer, Makom, by the way, Rabbi Yaakov Meir mentioned, is a synonym for the word Shechina. It's a synonym for the word Shechina. It's not the essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's a synonym for the word Shechina. So anybody have another answer? Huh? No. The answer is, there is no answer.
Trick question.
Do you know what the Svarim use? They use a term. They use the term Ein Sof. Ein Sof means which means infinite. That's all.
Beyond infinite.
Huh?
Beyond infinite. No.
Well, Ein Sof means there's no end. That means it's infinite. There's no positive word that you can really describe Hashem with. Because any word that you use is already something beneath the truth. The truth is, it's indescribable. It's such an existence which is indescribable. The only thing they could say which comes close to it is, say that indescribable entity is infinite. That's all. So we call Ein Sof. That's all, Ein Sof. So that is Hashem himself. Now, when I pray, when I daven, and I say Hashem Sivasai Tivtach, as the Baal Shem Tov just said, it says the Shekhinah comes into me, and the Shekhinah is the one who's talking. Before the Shekhinah is all over, but when I invite the Shekhinah, it sort of focuses and becomes more localized and concentrated in me, and the Shekhinah is the one who's really talking. Now, accepting. Then 2 lines later, he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'gam HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Kaviyachom Mitzamtzei Nasmo, V'shor Etzlo. He's also hovering around here. Kadosh Baruch Hu also. What's the difference between what he just said? First he called it Shekhinah, and then he called it Kadosh Baruch Hu. Why did he change it? The same law, 2 lines later. First is the Shekhinah comes inside me, the Shekhinah is talking. There's also HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shore Etzlo. He's also hanging around. What does that mean? Very interesting. As we just said, the way that we describe HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the essence is, that's where we really want to get to. That's our goal. We want to get to the Ein Sof. We want to get to the infinite. We want to get to him. But can we go from our state, which is, first of all, even if it's a spiritual state, it's also far away. But we are not only in a spiritual state which is far away, we're in a physical state. Can there be any connection at all from our physical state to the Ein Sof, which is the opposite end of all possible lengths? There's no thing further away than a completely spiritual state which has no physical description at all. There are no words that you can use to describe Hashem in any physical way at all. All we're just saying, there's no name, so we give it a name, Ein Sof, the infinite existence of infinity, whatever it is.
It's like the Kodesh HaKodeshim. Physicality is beyond physicality, inside the physicality.
Well, I mean, I don't exactly know what you mean, but if you see a connection, fine. So anyway, how do we accomplish that? How do we accomplish that? How do we want our tefillahs to go to the Ein Sof? We don't want to go anything less than that. That's our goal, to reach the Ein Sof. So how do we go about doing that? The answer is, when Hashem decided to make some kind of creation, first of all, he created spiritual worlds, spiritual entities. And we can call them olamot, physical worlds, hidden entities, spiritual entities. We can call them sfirot. And there are certain levels. There's the highest levels which are closest to him, and there are lower levels, also spiritual, but further away from him. When we address the Ein Sof, we don't even have the chutzpah to think that we can go directly to him. It's impossible. It's impossible. They're so far apart, it's not shaykh to say that the physical and the spiritual, completely spiritual, can meet. There's no common ground. They're two different, completely different entities. There's no way that they can connect. No way. So how do we do it? The answer is, there are spiritual levels which are, let's call them a bit thicker, closer to the physical. Not yet physical. They're also spiritual. But they're closer to the physical than the Ein Sof, which is totally absent of all description. The infinite. So they're further away from the infinite, closer to the physical, even though they're still spiritual, and they are, so to speak, the agent. What we address is that middle level. We go from the lowest level where the Shekhinah is, and the Shekhinah is inside us, and we address the middle level. The middle level takes it up to the Ein Sof. What is that middle level called? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what he said. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the middle level. The Shekhinah, which is inside us, is taking our tefillos to the next level, the middle level, which is called HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu will take it up further to the Ein Sof. We cannot go from the Shekhinah to the Ein Sof. We have to go from level 10 to level 5, and then from the 5, it could take up to 4, 3, 2, 1. We cannot go from number 10 to number 1. And we are at level 10. That's where we are. The lowest level. That's why the Baal Shem Tov switches the language. He says, when we invite the Shekhinah into us, and Yaakov Meir said the word makom. Makom, what does the word makom mean?
Place.
Place. What is place? Why is makom a synonym for Hashem, so to speak? Why is it? Because, what?
He's everywhere.
Exactly. Because the Shekhinah is what the world is the Shekhinah. It's manifested in what do you say in the Seder? Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu. Real Pesach. Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu. Makom is the Shekhinah, and then Hu is masculine, and Shekhinah is feminine, right? Shekhinah is feminine. Shin Chaf Nun Yud Nun Hey. It's feminine. Baruch Hu is masculine. Why is it by saying Baruch HaMakom, the Makom is the Shekhinah, why am I saying Baruch Hu? I'm not talking about the same thing. I'm talking about two different levels. I'm talking about the Shekhinah and HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
And so?
No, the middle level. Baruch HaMakom is the Shekhinah. Baruch Hu is the middle level of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're giving a bracha to Makom and also to Hu. Two. And every time you have in davening the word Makom, you can think this is really a synonym for the word Shekhinah. Baruch Kavod Adonai Mimakomo. You say in Kedusha. What does it mean? Mimakomo. We're benching him, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Mimakomo from the Shekhinah. To the middle level, takes it up afterwards. Yes.
When Yaakov said Hashem was in this place,
Which words are you meaning?
when he slept on with his head on the rock, and he woke up.
When he was here, but he slept over there, right? The word Mokum was used over there also, if I remember correctly, correct? That means the Shekhinah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you should remember all the time in davening, when you have the word Makom, you should know it means the lowest level, the lowest manifestation of the presence of Hashem, which is called the Shekhinah. Okay.
I heard once that the mikveh is something in between the physical and spiritual. It's not physical and it's not spiritual. It's something in between.
Well, the water is pretty physical.
The water simply, yes.
But let's call it the Kedushas HaMikvah. I'll tell you something. It's very interesting. I saw this in a sefer many years ago, and I still follow it today. When I go to the mikvah, it's brought down. The person goes to the mikvah, goes in the water, goes out of the water. I don't think about it. No, you're wrong. When you go out of the mikvah, you have to walk out backwards. You walk out. You step out of, like you're stepping out of Shemona Esrei. You step 3 steps backwards. When I go out of the mikvah, don't walk with my back to the mikvah. I turn around, face the mikvah, and I back out. The mikvah has kedusha. The mikvah has kedusha. The person who goes into the mikvah is not going only into a body of water. That body of water takes on a certain level that has. How is it? Why did that water have the koach to make somebody from tamei to tahor? How did that happen? If you buy kalim from a guy, you want to use the kalim, you buy dishes, you want whatever it is, pots, pans, you put them into a mikvah. It now went from tumas goy to kedushas Yisrael. A woman who has a cycle, she's tamei, she goes into the water, and now she's taught. What happened? Why can't she just take a shower? What's the difference? Water is water. Why can't you just take a shower?
I'm fine.
I'm fine with you. The answer is, it's not just water. The making of the water in that specific form of a certain amount of 40 saw, our body saw, there's a special amount, a mikveh has to have a certain minimum amount of water. 40 saw, whatever that is, let's make a difference. Why does it have to have 40? What's so special about the 40? Think further. Why was Moshe Rabbeinu in Shamayim, Arboim Yom v'Arboim Loila. What's so special about that number 40? Why? Why 40? What happens at 40? He was up there 40 days and 40 nights.
You can study Kabbalah.
And why does a mikveh have to have 40? The answer is the number 40 has a koach to change status. Don't think numbers are just numbers. There's a whole, I would say, what's the word?
Tradition.
No, not a tradition. It's called like a science, maybe, or a whole study called numerology. You heard of numerology? Numerology is not such a, some kind of ulterior things that came out of India or something like that. Numbers have a special significance. They have kedusha to them also. Numbers mean something. They interpret things. They give things value. They're important. Numbers are very important in Torah as well, and therefore there's a reason for the minimum size of a mikvah. Arboim saw. Arboim 40 has the koach to change the status of an object. Something goes in there tamei, comes out tahor. A person who is tamei, whether it's a woman or a man, he goes in to the mikvah, has 40 saw, he comes out a new person. Arboim. And if you have the kavanah that you want to be metaher yourself, you want to purify yourself, and you have the kavanah to do tshuva, wow, then you really accomplished something. Mamish, a new person. Mamish, a new person.
If you put
Excuse me?
the fork,
Yes.
the touch milk and basar, you put in the earth for 3 days. It's quite of the same idea. But why the earth?
No. First of all, I don't know where you heard that. That's not going to kosher the knife or the fork. Putting it into earth, I never heard that. When I got smicha, I had to learn Hilchos Kashrus backwards and forwards. There's a Chacham Tzvi, a famous tshuva of the Chacham Tzvi. Says you have a tray for utensil, what is it, a knife, a fork, a pot, and you didn't. And what do you have to do normally? It became treif. They cooked in it meat and milk together, so it's treif. Or they cooked chazer in it, so it's a treif pot. So how do you kasher the pot? You have to do hagala. You have to purge it. You have to put it in boiling water,
Yes.
right? And let the water overflow, or put it in a big pot of water and cook it until it boils, and you take it out. And now the boiling hot water extracts from the metal, it extracts all the trafers that it absorbed. Okay, I understand that. Says the Chacham Tzvi, says a chiddush. He says, if you have a utensil, a pot, which is treif, and you leave it for 12 months, 12 full months, and you don't use it. So the 12 months of lack of use makes the inside of that pot turn into like ash or nothing. So the treifus itself disintegrates within time. It just deteriorates. So that would be, if you didn't have a mikvah or a place to boil out the pot, to purge it, to kosher it that way, so that would be b'diavad, that would also be good. So that's another way that you can kosher a utensil, by not using it for 12 months. Full 12 months, not to use it at all. Not for cold, not for nothing. So what's inside the cells of the metal or air becomes like ash. It just disintegrates, and therefore it's now neutral again. It's kosher. But just to put it in the ground, I never heard of.
If it is cold, if you touch cold, not hot. If you touch a cold fork with a cold meat, and it was a milchik, then you can put it in the earth for 3 days.
You want to do that, do it, but I don't think you have
It was
to.
done like that.
All right, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. But I'm saying if it was cold,
Yes.
so the cold did not allow the trephis to get absorbed into the cells of the kli, and therefore it would be enough to wash it with soap. If you want to put it into the ground, maybe the chemicals in the ground will go into, maybe, I don't know. It's not going to hurt.
And the
It's not gonna
master
hurt.
of 12 months applies also to iron and
You have all metals. Right?
not only this.
Metals and glass, yes. You don't use it for 12 months, full 12 months.
So for Pesach,
If for Pesach, it becomes neutral. It becomes like a new kli. For Pesach too. Yes. Yeah.
What do you do with pot that goes in the oven, a hot oven of 200 degrees Celsius? And if you put it in boiling water, that's only 100 degrees Celsius. Does that still work?
It's enough to.
It's enough.
It's enough to purge out. Right. It's enough. It's enough. Yes, it's enough.
We used to put it in a box and sit outside for a year.
Well, you could leave it for a year. You could leave it for a year, not use it. Then you'll help
it
yourself.
applies also for Pyrex.
Yes. Well,
What the,
The Pyrex is a problem.
it's yes, because it's made chemically different. It's not regular glass Pyrex. It's fortified. I don't know exactly, how the Pyrex is made. Pyrex, some say, could be considered like cleferes, could be considered like earthenware. I don't know, pottery. I'm not sure, but regular glass can be kosher the same way as metal. Regular, same way. Okay, so anyway,
Pyrex is
No.
somebody does Pyrex.
so anyway, we got to this. We got to this because we were talking about numbers 40, 40, and as I said, we're at number 10. We're at number 10. Well, we're davening. We're at the 10. We cannot go to infinity, which is above 1. We can't even go to 1. We have to go to intermediate stage. We have to go to number 5 in the middle. That's what's called HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that agent receives the tefillah from the Shekhinah, from below, processes it, and takes it up to the higher, and eventually gets to Ein Sof. But don't make a mistake. Don't make a mistake. It's not considered avodah zarah, like you're davening to something else other than God. No. This is God's system. This is the way to get to God, by going through his system. You cannot go directly to the king. You cannot go to him directly. You have to go through the ministers, through all the ministries, through the offices. You have to go through the middle stages. So it's the Shekhinah going to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is a higher level, and therefore the Shekhinah is Nekeva. It's female, and the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is male, showing it's higher. And that one takes it up to the higher levels, and eventually it reaches to Ein Sof. That's the way it works. That's why you have here in this piece, it's amazing, the third week, we're still on one paragraph. Well, what can you do? It's all Torah. It's all Torah. It's all emes. I'm not making anything up myself. All right. What we do is explaining what it says. Okay, let's go further. Hashem Son's big v'shora etzlo. He's also around the Kodesh Baruch Hu, the middle stage. He's receiving it from the Shekhinah. Kamo shene'amar, meitzitz min hacharakim. Hashem is speaking out from the cracks, so to speak. Where is he? He's Ein Sof. He's coming down into a Kodesh Baruch Hu, speaking out and receiving the tefillah from the Shekhinah, which comes up from below. Meha'arsios. From the letters, Shehem Heichalos, they are like chambers. He's going from one chamber to another chamber. When you are davening, in every chamber, you are getting judged. Imhu roy lichnos. Are they going to allow you and your tefillah to go into the next chamber, get higher and higher and higher? If a person was davening Shmon Esrei and he takes it to his heart, they're now judging whether you can go higher, whether you're going to take your tefillah higher. And now a strange thought entered your mind. So you're not focusing on the Shekhinah. You're not focusing on the Kadosh Baruch Hu. You let something else come into your mind. Why did it come into your mind? Because you're not firm and committed in your focus. You're doing it lightly. You're davening Shmoneh Esrei lightly. Then they're judging you. What do? They throw you this thought, and they say, then you would, if you knew that they were judging you, you would daven with kavana. You wouldn't allow it to come in. So you don't even think about it. You don't realize I daven 3 times a day. Every time I daven 3 times a day, I'm getting judged. It's enough. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, I'm getting judged 3 times a day. He says, yes. You're getting judged as to whether or not your tefillah will be accepted. That's what you're getting judged about. Will your tefillah be accepted or not? So, if you want to get through, you want to be heard, you want to be answered, you have to make sure that you are showing the respect to the Shekhinah as you're supposed to. Before you start the Shmoneh Esrei, you really get yourself in hand, and you have to think to yourself, I'm now going to address the Kadosh Baruch Hu through the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah is going to be inside me, going to help me. I've got to say the words properly. I have to concentrate. And how important the concentration is. Then your Shmoneh Esrei will be a different Shmoneh Esrei. That's the way you're supposed to daven. You take yourself out of all of the surroundings. You're not interested in anything else going around the world. As we just said, you don't even hear the Chazor Hashatz. You don't hear it. You're totally focused, totally indulgent in the words, thinking, concentrating. And if you do it as the Baal Shem Tov said, which we learned at the very beginning, and that is the following. You can't come to all the kavanas that you're supposed to. We will not be able to do that. We don't even know all the kavanas that we're supposed to do. What we do is we try to picture the letter in our mind. You know what an aleph looks like. You know what it looks like, an aleph. You picture the aleph in your mind, and this is the derech of the Baal Shem Tov. You see the aleph in your mind. You see the way it has a line going down this way, it has a yud up on top, another one on the bottom, and one on the cross, and you expand in your mind, you expand the aleph, and you jump into it. You become part of the aleph. I'm saying the aleph, and as I'm saying it, I'm going into it. I become part of it. It's like the train coming by, the doors open up, I just jump in, and the train continues. So as I say the words, they're traveling up, and I want myself to be part of that trip going up. I just put myself into the letters, and the Anshe Knesset Gedolah, who gave us the Aleph base, who taught us the way Hashem gave it to Moshe Rabbeinu. And if Baal Shem Tov says that we can be Seivach and the Baal Shem Tov, if you do that, it's considered as if you had the proper kavanos. At least just picture the letter in your mind and feel yourself going into the letters. Bo ala teva, come into the teva. That's why it starts off in Parshas Noach, where Hashem told Noah, come into the teva, bringing your family into the ark. He says the word teva is also a word. Not only is it an ark, come into the word, and I'll take you up with me. As the word goes up, you go up with it. That's the way a person has to daven. And that takes time. That takes time. You're standing there, Shmoneh Esrei, you have to picture the words, the letters in your mind. That takes time. Now, if you can't do that, it's harder for you to do that. So at least open your eyes, have the sitter in front of you, have your finger on each letter, each word, and that way you are making yourself focus on where your finger is pointing, and just think of each letter as you're going along. That way you can concentrate on that letters. You want to go into the letters as you're saying them, and they go up with your speech as you're saying it. But you're fully becoming fully part of the letter itself. You're losing your own identity. You're jumping into the letter and becoming bottled to it. And then it'll take you up to a Kadosh Baruch Hu and to higher it eventually to Ein Sof.
So we start from the letter, not from the word.
Well, a word is made up of letters.
So you do this for each letter, and
That's what he says, the Baal Shem Tov, for each letter. It takes time.
that takes time.
It takes time. So it won't take you maybe 20 minutes at Davar Shmoneh Esrei, but it'll take you 5-10 minutes.
Oh, each letter, each word.
Excuse me?
Each word?
If I look, I can't speak for myself. I can't make up what I want. If we turn back to the Baal Shem Tov, I have it here in front of me. I'll read you the letters, what the Baal Shem Tov said, and you judge if I'm saying myself or I'm just saying what the Baal Shem Tov says. He says at the very beginning of this section on Tefillah, he says the following. When Hashem told Noach how to build the teva, so he says, Sohar ta'aseva teva, right? So Rashi says Sohar means one of two things. It either means some kind of a instrument that gives light, or make a skylight so that light can come into the teva. Sohar teva. Yisrael Baal Shem Tov Omar, Sohar ta'aseva teva. What does that mean, Sohar ta'aseva teva? The teva means a word, as you said, a word. Shetia hateva, the word, sha'adam medaber, b'torah or b'tefillah, matzir. You want to make that word enlightened. You want to give that word, not just to be a stam, plain word. You want to give that word light. You want to give it to life. Ki yesh b'kol os, olamot, v'neshamot, v'elokut, etc., etc. V'olim u'miskashim u'misyachim zeh zeh. Those letters, they go up and they become tied one to another. Imelo, of course, finally they get to Hashem. The letters then also join and they become a word. Then these words come and they come up to Hashem. So he says, V'tzorech ha'adam lichlol nishmaso, b'chol b'china u'b'china me'aniska. A person has to make his neshama be included with every, I would say, aspect that was mentioned. V'oz misyachadim kol ha'olamos ke'achad. I want to go skip 1 second. Let's see here. Well, I must say that there seems to be a back and forth between the word itself and the letter itself. First he says, here, B'tefillah, another section, a little bit further. Put all your strength into the words, the diburim. V'yelech kach me'os la'os. Go from one letter to another letter. Ad sheyishkach miguf diyos, so you forget your whole physical state altogether. V'yachshov sha'osios mitztarfin, the letters join each other, u'mischabim zeh mzeh, v'zeh ta'anu gadol, it's a great, great spiritual enjoyment. So you have the words teva and you have the word os. Which is correct? I don't know. It seems to be that he's concentrating on the letters. But I would say this, if you do it just by looking at the word as a whole, it's also good. It's still not the way you used to daven until that time. So you'd say you put yourself into the word. Put yourself into the word. You don't want to do it letter by letter. Put yourself into the word. Generally, I have a word in front of me, so I'm putting myself into all 4 letters of the word at one time. So actually, you're doing the same thing anyway. All right. Okay, so that's where we're holding.
But if you don't understand the meaning of the word,
Even if you don't understand the meaning.
it's better to focus on the letters of the word.
Well, look, he's saying there are so many kavanas that the Anshe and Knesset Gedolah had, we can't possibly come to those kavanas. And you don't even have time. You'll be standing Shemona Esrei for 10 hours. Who could? So just throw yourself into it and let them take you up. That's all. The letters you say, they become spiritual. Once they leave your mouth, they become spiritual. Let them take you with them. That's all. So you're doing the best you can. And even if you don't understand it, you should try to understand at least the first bracha. At least the first bracha, to understand the meaning of it, if you can. But even if you can't, if you're concentrating on the first bracha, making sure that you're totally focusing on getting into each word or each letter, at least the first bracha.
I was speaking beyond the Shemona Esrei.
Okay, fine. All right, so what are we holding now? We're holding, it's already about time now. Okay, so we'll end over here.